That's out in the middle of two.
Is mine on at all? Is it? Okay, because it doesn't sound like it is from here. Okay. 7 o'clock, so we're going to bring our planning commission meeting to order. We appreciate everyone who's here, those people who are also joining us online. We welcome you and thank you for being good citizen participants. Are we caught up now? Okay, I thought, golly, I've got a ghost going on back here. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. We didn't choose anyone for a reverence or pledge. Okay. So, Commissioner Prince, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the opportunity to live in such a great community and enjoy the blessings we have. We ask that we'll be able to be wise in our decisions tonight. We thank you for all those who have sacrificed for our freedoms and for the blessings we enjoy. And we say these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Okay, the first item on our business is the approval of the minutes from the Planning Commission meeting of April 8th. Commissioners, have you had an opportunity to read through those minutes? And if you find any corrections that need to be made? That's a good point. I think we should amend that because he was speaking only on his own behalf, not representing the city council. Okay. All right. Any other changes to the minutes?
One, it says Davis Weston. It was actually Dennis Weston.
Dennis Weston, yes, rather than Davis Weston. I did see that. Any other corrections or clarifications for the minutes? If not, then we'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes from April 8th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the April 8th Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second.
Do we have a motion and a second to approve it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Our first item on our agenda tonight is a public hearing for a conditional use permit for an oversized structure for property located at 6011 South, 6700 West for Mr. Scott Perks. You don't have a presentation on this or anything for us? Okay. Mr. Perks, is there someone here representing Mr. Perks? Would you like to come forward and state your name and address and let us give you, and we'll have a little conversation.
Sure.
And you live where?
We live in Hooper, 5283.
Okay.
Down the address you just
Yeah, 6011 South, 6700 West. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your project?
We're in horses. that barn for,
So right now you're asking for a conditional use permit for an oversized structure
barn.
for the barn. How many horses do you intend to house there?
Fluctuates. Right now, we just have
6? Are these your own personal horses or will you be stabling for other people?
pleasure riding.
Pleasure riding just for your own. So you're not going to be taking in and boarding horses
No.
or teaching lessons or any of those things?
Ourselves.
Okay. Fulfilling your dreams then, huh? Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Nicole?
Drawings, does it have a second level, like a loft, anything else that way up above? It's completely open.
I don't know if you can see it. This is where you want to build your home, right? And then that's the barn.
And this is a 20-acre parcel, is that correct? So it says, yes, you'll have plumbing and electricity.
Like to put a bathroom out there.
Yeah.
That'll require a second set of septic system out there.
So we have the septic system drawn in the way that the guy designed it. It should just be,
Feed to both buildings will feed to it.
Any other questions for Sparks?
Did we want to say anything about the height or?
So in reviewing these plans, looking them over, and definitely we're not architects, but we have an ordinance in Hooper that is a 25-foot maximum height for a residential area. And granted, you're on 20 acres, but you still are in the R1 zone, which is residential 1 acre. Okay, so your plans show that they're 2810. Yeah, plus the cupola at the top, and I love the cupolas. I think they're beautiful. But we feel like we've been pretty consistent with other requests for oversized structures, and we understand that your footprint is really the reason that it's oversized. But we want you to be aware that 25 is our height maximum as well. So you may need to do a little bit of modifications in your design before you come for a building permit, because I
so
don't-
there's no flexibility. We'll probably have to stay with that. We drew that up so that the truck could drive underneath that one side with the hay on it and all that stuff. That's kind of why that ended up being that high. Any flexibility, or is it kind of,
That height to get your truck in?
yeah, on the side where we're
bring in a load
the
of
hay, yeah.
feed the horses.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, that's accessory to the use of the building.
I think as long as it's not causing a negative impact where they are on a 20-acre parcel, I personally feel like it's different than if it were in the middle of a subdivision being that high, if it doesn't have a negative impact.
Well, I mean, the same thing too with the size of it too. Like even in my neighborhood, a 10,000 square foot building would be, huge, but on a 20-acre parcel, that 10,000 isn't that one drawing that Bryce just showed is a drop in the bucket on a 20-acre lot. So.
So I guess we don't have any, do we have any other questions for Nicole at this point in time?
Do we need to do anything with that then? Is
I
there,
think the mayor is reviewing it with the attorney just to double check for us, but
okay,
Gonna just talk this over.
okay.
Thank you for answering our questions, and we're gonna bring it back to the commission and discuss it and see if there's possibility of an exception or something like that. Just so you know, if it's determined to be an agricultural building, then there's different height restrictions, but there's also different use restrictions. So I'm not exactly sure. So I think the better way to treat this would be whatever he tells us in just 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so, sorry, speed up. So if the question in an R1 accessory building is, okay, our base is 25, okay? So the height considerations have to comply with that. code then says accessory structures over these requirements for conditional use. That's why they're there asking. However, it cannot be over 5. Don't have the authority to go over 35. This is 28.
Okay, good. Needed that clarification.
Good.
So, appreciate that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Nicole. We
That's all.
appreciate your time.
Okay,
Is there anyone here who would like to make a public comment regarding this item on our agenda? Okay, seeing none, then we'll bring it back here to our planning commissioners.
And like I said, if looks good to me.
Okay. So understanding what our city attorney just explained to us, that OWA cannot exceed the 35 feet, but we can exceed the 25 feet with the conditional use permit for an oversized structure. So given that information, prepared to make a motion?
I'll motion. I motion that we approve the conditional use permit for an oversized structure located at approximately 6011 South, 6700 West for Scott Perks.
Brandon, do we need to indicate that that's oversized for both square footage and height?
Height.
Okay, add that to my motion.
I second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit for the oversized structure, which covers not only the size of the building, but also the height of the building. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. Thank you. You don't need to do anything else. Go forward. All right. The next item is a public hearing for conditional use permit, also for an oversized structure for Brandon Sharp on property located at 4590 South, 6700 West. Is there someone here?
Brandon, and at the address for
Okay.
5 horses.
Okay. The pole barn type. And you will not have plumbing or electricity out there? Not at all. Okay. Just know that if you do in the future, you'll need a building permit to install those if you choose to. Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Brandon? Okay. Thank you, Brandon.
Enough?
We appreciate you coming. Again, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would have comment regarding Brandon's request for a conditional use permit? Seeing none, then we will close the public comments and bring it back to the commissioners for any comment or discussion. Anyone have anything to say? Okay. So I think we would entertain a motion again for a conditional use permit for Brandon Sharp for his oversized structure.
I'll motion that we approve a conditional use permit for Brandon Sharp for an oversized structure located at 4590 South, 6700 West.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Wilcox,
I'll go.
and we have a second from Commissioner Platt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Nope. Thank you. Sharp, congratulations. Build on. The third item on our city business tonight is for a conditional use permit for a accessory dwelling unit that is 756 square feet located on the property at 4747 South, 5900 West. This is for Dave and Cara Osere. Dave, would you like to step up here? Okay, Cara, come forward.
Sorry, I do everything with Cara. I'm David Osprey, and this is my wife, Cara Osprey, and we've been living in Hooper for 8 years at 47 South 900.
Okay. And we see from your request that you want to build a garage/shop with an apartment.
Correct.
Apartment will be ground level as well as the garage, so. This falls under our ordinance for accessory dwelling units. And I see that you signed this, that you understand it and read the requirements. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the Ospreys?
You didn't want a door going from the apartment into the garage? Okay. Not, I mean, it's not required. I just,
Because
rent it out.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, makes sense.
Out of curiosity, who's gonna live there?
Our daughter,
That's
her
what-
husband, and our son-in-law. Yeah,
I would
we
like
want to get him out of the basement.
I like this concept, kind of like a barn dominium.
Yes.
I think it's great. I love seeing things like this come.
Go a little bit bigger on it. You sure you don't want to go a little bit bigger?
Somebody said you should always go bigger.
it's maximum of 960 square feet and you are at 756, but it lays out nicely.
Yeah.
Fits your lot nicely the way you want it to be, so. I like your plan. I think it looks nice.
It just dropped all over. So.
You don't want to come back and see us?
I love you guys, but no.
Commissioners, do you have any questions anymore for the Ospreys? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to make public comment regarding this request for accessory dwelling unit? Okay, seeing none, then we'll bring it back here. If we have any other discussion? We would entertain a motion for this request for conditional use permit for an accessory dwelling unit.
I'll motion that we approve. Sorry, let me get my bearings here. A conditional use permit for, are we calling it an oversized structure or
Accessory
an
dwelling.
accessory dwelling unit? Am I looking at the wrong thing here, or is it just on my being wrong? Okay. For an accessory dwelling unit, 756 square feet located at 4747 South, 5900 West, for David Osprey. Did I say that right?
I wonder if we need to clarify that this ADU is also going to have it will be a garage and an ADU.
Okay. So for an accessory dwelling unit and a garage.
The reason that they requested the conditional use permit is because of the ADU, because neither one of them are oversized, but yet they're combined. And so we just want to make sure that it covers both of them.
Okay. I'll amend that to include that.
I'm not sure if it's necessary, but I think. it
Just in
can be.
case.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Prince to approve this conditional use permit.
I will second.
We have a second from Commissioner Greener. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll get to work. Okay, the next item on our agendas tonight is a public hearing and a preliminary plat approval for the Miles subdivision for 4 lots located at 6300 West and 4600 South. This is for Brant Miles. We might have a presentation. So Brant, just wait a minute. Yep.
Hear the Okay, now we're ready. So this is Miles Farm subdivision located at the intersection of 6300 West and 4600 South. Box. 4 lots in the R2 zone on 2.5 acres. They're here tonight for a preliminary plat. Highlighted here, you actual parcel right next door is subdivision developed a couple years ago by the same building acres subdivision. Kind of get a perspective where this is, and it's actually for the Planning Commission and Council late last year. Represented as a plat. There is one long lot bulgered next to the other 3 acres. 3 smaller lots. Front. All of these lots are of proper size and frontage. Ordinance. Subdivision also get frontage along 4600 to the corner and around the corner on 60. Rest this corner up in drainage that area. Into improvements that were made. Acres. So our staff has been through this a couple of times as part of the preliminary plat review. I wanted to emphasize on behalf of Jared and I, who plans from a preliminary plat standpoint, satisfied with the improvement plans. Recognize, and you probably saw that in our latest memo, there are still a few things to be worked out in the final. Have been clearly noted. From a preliminary standpoint, there's a long way relative to having and we still got a couple of things. This is, like I say, this is just preliminary, and you still get a chance to have us come back to final. And our ordinance for preliminary doesn't require the level that we've already received. But we do have preliminary or will serve letters from Hooper Water Improvement District, Company, Rocky Mountain Power, Dominion Energy. Fire Marshal has actually given final approval. Still require final approval letters from Hooper Water and Hooper Irrigation. Delve in and get final details. So, anyway, that's they're like I say, they're here for preliminary plat approval, and staff were satisfied.
I missed this. This was just a typo on our thing again that says they're here for final approval. Am I final plat approval for Miles subdivision? Okay.
This is their first visit.
Okay, that clears up all my questions. So, well, they've been.
I know.
Yeah.
If it were 3 lots, it'd be a minor subdivision, but it's 4 lots and.
Okay.
Mark.
Was it really? Oh, I thought you crossed it out. Okay. Yeah, mine says final. So, okay.
One that came in, the one that was emailed to us a week ago did say have to allow for
Oh, totally
on
okay.
new staff people.
I just had a bunch highlighted. I was like, well, if this is final, I'm confused. So now I'm good.
All right. Is that all you have for us?
All I have.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to present yourself? Now it's your turn.
Matt Miles. We are excited about this. We appreciate the review. Got a bunch of
You moving back to Hooper?
it's gonna be hard to turn my kids away from where they're at now, but maybe.
Yeah.
That may be contingent on.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Right.
I really like the way you've laid it out with the 4 lots instead of trying to fight to get 5 in there.
Yeah, it is much cleaner for sure.
Yeah, it just looks nice. We've got really good frontage.
Right.
Um,
Lots are really large.
and I think that they're going to be very desirable. So
Already have them all sold?
Say again.
You already have them all sold?
Oh, we have lots of people trying to buy them. We're just telling them to wait. So we know what our cost is.
yeah,
But we're anxious.
questions for Mr. Miles?
Yeah, the memo, it initially, there been another one sent out. Maybe I missed another one sent out.
End of April, wasn't?
This is dated April 28th. So
Yeah, so we did address those items.
Yeah.
Could have everything in and they probably just haven't.
I don't think we've seen anything from them.
Okay,
Grants.
I'll double check on that then. Know that we actually. Final.
That's good. Thank you. No, you're good. Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to make comments regarding the request for ramp miles? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back here to commissioners. Do you have any additional comments you'd like to make? I would like to just say it's nice to see preliminary approval come through that's this clean.
Amanda was ready to,
I was ready to bounce. I'm like, wait a minute, there's like 4
I-
things on here.
I
that-
preempted you, so.
Yeah.
I will motion that we approve the preliminary plat approval for this subdivision located at 6300 west, 4600 south, 4 lots.
Recommend that to city council?
Oh, so
Recommendation.
recommend to approval. Okay. I've modified mine per Amanda's modification.
I'll second that.
Have a motion that we recommend to city council for preliminary approval for the Miles Farm subdivision. We have a second, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. It'll be nice. Okay, the next item on our agenda tonight, and sometimes the agenda gets changed, but this is where we're at now. This is a public hearing and a final plat approval for High Strung Subdivision, which is a 1-lot subdivision located at 6,000 south and 4,700 west, and this is for Mr. Kelly Taylor.
That address is up the street here on 5500 west. Recognize this because last month of it, here as Christensen Fairway, low was
Of south 5,500 west.
well, yeah, like was said, it's 1 lot, 0.2 acres. It actually is in the R2 zone, which allows for a much smaller lot, but key to that owned, it was rezoned many years ago, but he was to be able to earn it. Exactly what happened. Fairway Estate, Christensen Fairway. Anyway, it's 1 lot, so it is final plat approval on an existing road with awesome. This is the plat, nice L shape. There, large. That also had plan relative ability work out on 500 West. Jared has spent the actual improvements, by the way, just so you're aware, for this and the one next.
So this will have curb and gutter and everything in front of it.
But the road is going to be wide.
Whole road will eventually.
Yeah.
Couple of
Are
years.
they required to like escrow that now for? Okay.
Anyway, that's nature of the plat, just like you saw last time with Christensen Fairway. He was the staff that all the memo items had did. Taylor is here as well.
Representative for this request, would you like to come forward, please?
Taylor, 3609 South, 500 West.
We talked about in our work meeting, I just wanted to see that email. Property disputes, and they showed it to me. And
Well, Hooper City sent me the emails taken care of.
that's the only because property disputes.
I sent my boy a thing to bring it. So
Yeah, we did see that as
Property dispute you're talking about involving the Woodward property, do you know? Yeah, Allison, she had contacted me with some concerns. I don't know if it was about this particular parcel, but I know the way that the county had things on the plat was incorrect. So I just wasn't sure if that was affected by this at all.
the Windwards is next. Which is part of the Terra subdivision.
It's kind of L-shaped it. Okay. Okay, well, as long as, I mean, I trust Tracy's looked at it and everything, so I just didn't know if that was connected at all with this or. Okay, everything's been, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Now, there was somebody else's name or something on their parcel that shouldn't have been on there or something, and so anyway, we can look at that outside of this. I just wasn't sure when you said property dispute, which you were talking about, so.
Okay. Any other questions for Kelly? No? Thank you, Kelly. Public hearing? Anyone here who would like to make public comment regarding this item? And then we'll close public comment, bring it back to the commissioners. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, then we will entertain a motion for this request for this is going to be a final plat approval for High Strung. Oh, I did want to ask, where did that name come from? I thought maybe you guys were just like on edge out there all the time.
oh,
I've been called high strung and I don't hunt, so.
I can show you names that. Anyway, so you're fine.
No, I like the name. I just wondered if it had some underlying sentimental meaning. Oh, there you go. Okay, okay, okay. Back to business. Sorry. We had no other comments, so we could entertain a motion for this request for a plat approval.
This is getting recommended to the city council, correct?
Correct.
I'll recommend that we recommend the city council final plat approval for the high-strung subdivision located at 3912 South, 5500 West, one lot.
Have a motion from Commissioner Platt to recommend to city council approval of this final plat. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second from Commissioner Wilcox. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes. Okay, the last item on our city business tonight is a preliminary plat approval for the amended Silver Saddles Phase 1 subdivision, which is 25 lots. Tracy, do you have a presentation for us?
Well, I just wondered if we need to clarify exactly what there, because plat isn't changing. The only thing that's changing is drainage plan. Oh, the subdivision had final. How will we describe what we're actually?
The plat hasn't changed, just the drainage plan. Is that, do I understand that?
Sub. Specify, discussing it. Basically need the final approval. It's going to be able to.
Because it's been amended. The drainage plan is
Right.
amended. So the plat is still the same, but the drainage plan has been amended.
But I don't think it needs to come. Final. Discussed on this.
Okay.
When you make. A scene.
Tracy, can you explain to us then what's happened?
Yeah, Jared asked me to give a little background and then. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so this Silver Saddle subdivision received preliminary for 2 phases a couple of years ago and received final approval for phase 1 early 2020. It was with a different developer. We actually had a pre-construction meeting with that developer and their contract. Then within a couple of months after that, this subdivision, this development got sold home.
That Josh Lynch, Tracy?
No.
It wasn't Josh.
Brad.
Oh, the original developer was Kevin Ivins. Larry Daly was the contractor that we met with in the construction. And then it got sold. And starting in about April of last year, we received a revised drainage plan, 7, which we reviewed. And essentially Jared and I bonded as the review. We liked what we had before. We didn't like what was being proposed now. And it's gone back and forth a couple of times. And I'll just explain the 2 real key issues that we were looking for, that we were hoping to try to overcome, which we thought we had overcome in the original approval. One item is this is phase 1, the backside of phase 1, and this will be phase 2. And we were originally were able to show that there was going to be a small right here between lots, the back of the lots, but all the lots would drain away from the back. We're just trying to avoid having everything drained to a low spot between lots, particularly when they're not built yet, and to prevent that standing water and any ponding. But we had the previous plan show that there was going to be back lot to front in phases. And that went away with the plan that we received initially. Since that time, there has been some improvements. They are showing some nearly flat. Our response to that was, well, just a little bit further and make the thing flat. Possibility for any ponding. So that was one area. The other area then is this area along this. This is Jay Thompson's property, existing property. We're always concerned about what drainage is property. And you can see these represent 1 foot contours. So, you know, across some of these lots, there's back. And the proposal right now is build a berm along the property line and put a fence in that berm, essentially just to connect, receive and contain the water on the back of the lots. Berm, we also don't like that. Do not like rear lot drainage systems, storm drain type systems, but there are cases like this where we feel like we'd rather have the water collected in the back of the lot and taken away to the storm drain out here, have it ponded in. So those are the two main things. There were a couple other things on our memo that one of them was addressed. Another one still for discussion. Never really had a discussion about with the developer, but anyway, that's kind of the background. I'll let Jared weigh in on kind of how he feels about everything.
I think I think Tracy's pretty well summed it up. Our experience has led us to if the roads go in, get built up and build dams, and everybody's back lots are low, and we get a rainstorm, they're calling us wondering why they got a foot of water in their backyard. And sometimes different landscaping, different homeowners, it's all in one guy's backyard. His neighbors is and on to him, and it's a lot better situation to have it so that it doesn't fit in that sides with our ordinance. The drainage plan that concentrates water into one area or onto adjacent. I think we really overall the subdivision doesn't have many problems. Pretty happy with all the rest of the infrastructure. New plan has improved substantially from originally approved as far as they've lowered the road and made these bills less. Best and
A representative here for the Silver Saddle subdivision.
Being with Nelson Homes.
And where do you live, Steve?
I live in Kaysville. Nelson Homes is at 1493 Ridgeline Drive, though, in South Ogden.
Questions? Do you want to first kind of present your position on all of this? Because obviously the drainage is a
We've provided our responses and our reasonings, and I think there's still disagreement on required drainage. Work with staff on any draining are responsive. There were quite a few, and they're in our responses. So it didn't. The folks that were developing before aren't builders, developing to sell the lots. Damn.
see them in there, but that's okay. Maybe I didn't get the response, but I didn't see any reason from Nelson Homes why that you deviated from this packet.
Yeah, I don't know what was included in your packet, but so there
Some
are,
from your attorney. There's some from your attorney in there. Anyway, so I'm kind of unclear why you switched gears, but you're saying it was an inefficient plan, but we approved it.
yeah, as staff has indicated, there's some significant improvements in the utility plan from the original plan. Not the least of which is the elevation that would have been created to the other property to the north. Given the road elevations, that would have put them at a significant disadvantage. Elevation of the road at the property line.
It looks like on this one, you guys are really close from top back of curb on a lot of 11 through 18. You're, as far as I can tell, within a foot and a half, maybe at the most. Is that correct?
I think we commented that they were
Close,
flat or nearly flat. It just,
but it's still flowing to the back.
I honestly, I thought part of this has continued.
So are you proposing a berm behind lots 11 through 18 and phase 2, those lots, or is it just on Jay Thompson's side? That berm? Where are you proposing that to go?
It's, again, I'll reference you to the responses that we've already provided. It's a characterization of a berm isn't the way that we would look at it. It's more for division of the property as it is. We're not suggesting that it's there to be built as a dam.
Is it on both property lines on the back? Like on Jay's side and then
I think there was a picture of that. Yep.
between lots 11 and 18 and then the future phase 2? Does it go there?
Yeah, I don't know that we've shown it there, but that would be the likely.
It's just on Jay's side? Okay.
You're asking if it's on the back of phase 1 where phase 2's at? Yeah, I just, yes.
Berm's gonna be there too?
Yeah, you would have a delineation between the property lines with that elevation change.
I just see it, I mean, because you're bringing in dirt anyway, fill to make it.
No, there would be dirt on site for that. So we wouldn't.
I mean, what I see happening is a homeowner coming in there and doing some landscape and they just flatten that sucker right out. That's a possibility.
Certainly is, yeah.
And then we got the foot of water in someone's backyard.
Well, there's state law that governs that beyond any ordinances, right? So the state law governs that anybody, any landowner has to convey water, storm drain water, keep it from flowing onto adjacent properties. So.
And that's our responsibility too, is to make sure it flows away and not onto another property from state code as well.
So it sounds like a couple times you've noted in here, or your attorney has, Nielsen Homes is willing to discuss reasonable solutions to the city's drainage concerns for these lots. So it sounds like you're open to coming up
Absolutely.
with a solution.
Yeah.
And if we move that we table this, you would have some time to do that. So
No, our request respectfully is for a recommendation tonight.
and I mean, just so that we clarify, our stance has been that we don't approve things subject to, or recommend approval subject to, because we don't want to pass on problems to the city council. I mean, we've seen you before, so it shouldn't be a surprise that that's kind of our mindset. So I guess, I know you're referring to the response from your attorney. I guess we've all read that. So I'm just wondering if you had anything additional to add that would be beneficial in us helping to make a decision that would change our mindset from what it has been.
I don't know that there is. I mean, we believe that we're in compliance completely with every ordinance that the city has. We have a difference of opinion with staff on the requirement for drainage. And we're happy to re-engage, but at this point we're requesting a recommendation one way or the other.
just for the record, it's code 10-68-4 lot grading and drainage. In section B, it says lots shall be laid out to provide positive draining away from all buildings in accordance with the uniform building code. And individual lot drainage shall be coordinated, shall be designed to avoid concentration of stormwater drainage from any lot to adjacent lots. I guess that's they're gonna be draining into each other from what I can see.
And again, there's numerous examples in the city and projects both that we've done and that have been approved for other developers where the slope from front to back is more than what ours are. So from everything we have seen and read in the code, we believe that we comply. And we're still happy to sit down and discuss if there's something else that can be done, but we believe we're in compliance with the ordinance and with what has previously been approved in the city. And so again, we just respectfully request a recommendation, whatever that is.
I just wanted to point out, and I'm sure you've read this, and this is from our staff's response. Our experience with this issue confirms that the size of the lot and percolation are not acceptable solutions to prevent the pooling and collection of water on these lots. So I think that our experts here at the city are basing their response on the experience that we've had with similar situations. And so I hope you can appreciate that when we make a decision, there's no personal gain. We're trying to think of the benefit of the people that are going to live out here and how it affects them. And I'm not saying you're doing otherwise, but there's business. And then I think we're just trying to make the best decision for the future of the people that are going to be affected by this. So it's nothing personal.
Understood.
Even though I know it's frustrating for you. So.
Public hearing. Is there anyone either online or in the building that would like to make a comment regarding this request for this item on our agenda?
3620 South, 500 West. Our property, or my mother's property, is north of where that. I've been contacted a couple times by Mr. Bingham about the way he wants to run the irrigation water. And it's been changed. He's trying to change the way it comes. I just want to make sure that everything on here is the way that it was planned in the original for the water to be ran to J. Thompson's, and that they understand that there's going to be the drain ditch and the irrigation ditch are.
Where's that ditch? Right.
Well, the one for Jay was originally to come down, follow down the road, and then come across into where his part is there in the back. And then ours is at the very back, runs along where the existing, where they've already started other subdivision part of I don't know, Cemetery Meadows. I don't know which one it is, but it runs all the way along the back to my mom's property. So, and they've already, the one subdivider is tried to run it in the thinking that they could multiply the drain ditch and the irrigation ditch together. And we got that stopped. And that's one of the other things that Steve had brought up to me by doing that. And I said, no way. Can't have.
Ditches and we've got drain ditches and.
Right, the drain ditch isn't going to work for irrigation ditch.
So has anything with dealing with that changed from our previous approval that we gave?
the infrastructure for phase 2 will that there is a bell in the ordinance. Ditches need to be piped, existing drain ditch and an existing irrigation. That's 2 facilities. Our ordinance have to come to phase 2. One thing I wanted to point out on the you can see the road there and those contour lines Tracy talked about. So the natural lay of that ground pre-development, everything goes to the north. See those. And when they put that road in there, E400 west, it's going to be built up above natural grade. One side of the road is what we're talking about. If we're going to build the road up, let's build the lot. The other side of the road, not only is the road built up and that water going to want to run down to the natural grade, it continues to flow that way as well with natural contour. You can see on the plan the berm that's going to prevent that water from running onto Dayton. All we're asking, okay, now where's the water going to go? Put in a drain system. Really not that fast. That water's flow that way. Top of neighbor property and where to
be able to
collection system.
those lots need to be able to drain.
And it sounds like they've made a lot of progress, like a lot of things that you mentioned have been taken care of. So.
And modified
It had a
that made sense. And so now that the plans and things have been changed, then that drainage revised to where it's not acceptable. Any other comments?
I just want to know if you two color coordinated, if that was planned for tonight or. I know, I kind of. Not you. No. Oh, I guess.
No,
Your file folder.
I was just gonna make a comment and not to be critical, but basically made these comments last April. Well, how is it that and now they're having attorneys send a letter. So how is it they're willing to work with staff? They're willing to do is come in here and tell us every place where we haven't done this. So give in. And that's our concern as staff. Wanted to work with us, they could have come in and sending the same thing with little revisions, not addressing the pay, and all of a sudden the attorney has to respond. I don't really consider that half.
Good point. I don't think there's anything further to discuss, in my opinion.
I mean, dealing with drainage is something you do with every subdivision, right? It's a challenge on every subdivision. It's nothing new.
There are also conditions where Jared has out in the, what are you going to do to fix this? We're going to go ahead and fill in. Next thing you know, there's a, that's what we're also.
Well, and we're the ones that live out here and are going to have the people come to us and say, why did you allow this to go through if you knew there were issues with it? So I think we're lucky to have people that are keeping our citizens' interest at heart. So.
Oh, and I feel like, just putting a berm at the back of the property to keep the water from going further north and west is not the answer. That's a good place for it to stop it. It's a good way to stop it. We still need to get it off the lot.
Where's it going to go? It's still going to be.
if there's no more discussion, then we could entertain a motion on this request for a preliminary plat approval for the amended Silver Saddles.
Yeah, however you want to, I mean, I would find
Okay.
subdivision,
So
and
the final approval for the amended.
but I think it suggests you have recommend approval. Those are your
Spirit of their verbiage, which is they said they would want to work with us. In reality, you know, I would be in favor to table it and give them another opportunity to work with us, to do what we want. What's best for the city.
It appears to me too that they've come a long way in getting it right. And there's just a few more items that need to be taken care of. And I think, you know, we as a planning commission, our determination is to not recommend things that aren't complete.
And I think it's important we stand by that. My question, and I don't know if this would be to Brandon or, gosh, my brain just went out the window. Steve, if we table it, what would be the proper time frame to do that, to the next planning commission meeting? Do you think that's adequate time, or?
our
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Our position is that we're not recommending to city council anything that's incomplete.
We can also still table it. That's something that we have to decide, but I appreciate you letting us know.
Accept.
But I think there's a, did you want to say something?
No, go ahead. man.
Oh, no,
I was just gonna say, I mean, I know, you know, contractors say cost goes up, et cetera, et cetera. You know, time goes down the road, they've had opportunity to do it. My deal is this, cost goes up. Obviously, the contractor doesn't end up paying that cost. I mean, they do initially, but they pass it on to the people buying the lots, right? That's who ultimately pays the bill. And so if they're gonna, we get it done right, they pay the bill and they're happy with the result. We don't have any complaints down the road. So we stand up for the homeowners, we stand up for the city, and we do what's right.
That's been our position all along.
And my opinion is, I think there's a lot invested here. I think that us denying this, I think they've put a lot of work into it. I don't think that they're going to want to walk away from this, I would assume. So to me, I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt that things are heated. There's a lot of emotions, but hopefully they'll take the opportunity to fix these last few things, and they will work with us like they've indicated. And we put it out another month, and then if at that point they haven't done it, I think it will be easier for us to make a decision. That's my opinion.
I think that's a good compromise.
I'll motion that we table the final approval of the Silver Saddle subdivision located at approximately 3700 South, 5600 West for Nielsen Homes until the next planning commission meeting, which should be, should have looked that up, June 10th. And I should probably add to that so that the developer has time to address and resolve the concerns that we've mentioned tonight and that the staff has referenced in their memo.
The memo of May 12th. Is that the memo you're referring to?
Memo from May 12th, 2021.
Have a motion from Commissioner Prince that this item be tabled.
Did you have any verbiage in there that it meets city staff's recommendation or just address the memo?
I think I said addressed and resolve.
Okay.
May want to double check the tape, but I think I said that. So
Motion is to table this until June 10th.
June 12th,
12th.
right? Is it the 12th? 10th? Just kidding.
10th.
The memo is May 12th.
Wilson Somes opportunity to address and resolve the issues on the memos. Correct?
Correct.
You have a second for this motion.
I'll second it.
We have a second from Commissioner Platt. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes. Since this is a public meeting, any other citizen comments either in the building or online? If not, then we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Aye.
Oh, anybody vote for that? Yes, all those in favor.
Aye.
Price, right?